Nearly every culture on Earth tells the same story. A catastrophic flood, a chosen survivor, a warning ignored. Most people know it as Noah's flood, a regional event in Mesopotamia. But what if everything we've been told is wrong? Over 250 ancient civilizations across every continent recorded the exact same event happening at the exact same time. Approximately 3000 BC, the Chinese described 22 years of rain. The Mayans spoke of 3 previous floods that destroyed entire races. The Sumerians wrote of extraterrestrial beings abandoning Earth as waters consumed the planet. These aren't myths, they're historical records. And modern science has finally discovered what really happened. The truth isn't just about one man on one boat. It's about a global cataclysm that nearly wiped out human civilization entirely. The story most people know goes like this. Humanity became corrupt and sinful. God instructed the prophet Noah to build an ark large enough to hold 2 of every animal. After the ark was complete, it rained for 40 days and 40 nights. The sinful perished, and Noah's family repopulated the earth. It's a beautiful story, but it's been simplified over thousands of years. The real event was far more complex and global in scale. In China, the supreme ruler commanded the water god Gong to create a massive flood to cleanse humanity of corruption. Rain poured from the heavens for 22 years. Survivors climbed to mountain peaks to escape. Another Chinese legend tells of the goddess Noah, who defeated a corrupt neighboring chieftain in battle. In revenge, he climbed a sacred mountain and toppled the bamboo tree, holding up the sky, triggering catastrophic flooding. Only those loyal to the creator survived. In ancient India, a hero named Manu saved the spirit of the god Vishnu, who had incarnated as a fish. In gratitude, Vishnu warned Manu of a coming flood and instructed him to build a ship. When the deluge came, all life perished except for Manu and the creatures he saved. His vessel landed on a mountain, and from there, he replanted the seeds of life across the world. Aboriginal tribes in Australia tell of a giant frog that drank all the world's water, causing devastating drought. To save themselves, animals worked together to make the frog laugh. When it finally did, all the water burst from its mouth at once, drowning nearly all life on Earth. A pelican rescued the survivors in a massive canoe. Ancient Greece recorded 3 major floods in their history, 2 of which ended entire eras of humanity. The Deucalion flood mirrors Noah's story almost perfectly. Zeus became furious with the corrupt hubris and Pelasgian people and decided to destroy them. The Titan Prometheus warned his son Deucalion to build a ship. After 9 days of battling floodwaters, Deucalion's vessel landed on a mountain. Zeus blessed him and his family, allowing them to restart civilization. The Mayans believed 3 floods had occurred before their time. The first destroyed a race of dwarfs. The second wiped out a race called the Guilty Ones. The third flood nearly ended humanity entirely, but 3 survivors escaped in a great canoe and restored the human race. According to the Mayan calendar, this happened in 3143 BC. The most controversial and intriguing flood account comes from the Sumerians, the oldest known civilization. Their records are the earliest written documentation of the flood, making them critically important. According to Sumerian texts, celestial beings called the Anunnaki came from the planet Nibiru. They genetically engineered humans in their image to serve as a workforce. Over time, humanity multiplied, but became corrupt, indulging in excess and abandoning the ethical principles of their creators. Displeased, the Anunnaki detected that changes in the sun would soon trigger a planetary catastrophe. Rather than warn humanity, they decided to let the corrupt species perish and start over. But one Anunnaki named Enki, who had designed human DNA, felt a deep connection to his creation. He warned a man named Atrahasis about the coming disaster and gave him detailed plans to build a survival vessel. Atrahasis asked about saving other species. Enki told him not to worry. Genetic samples of all life had been preserved and could be recreated. Atrahasis built the ship and survived the flood. When his vessel landed on a mountain, he and his family cooked meat to survive. The Anunnaki, who had been orbiting Earth for 40 days, descended when they smelled the food. Atrahasis shared his limited supplies as a gesture of friendship. Moved by this act, the Anunnaki realized humans possess qualities they hadn't recognized before. They decided to leave Earth permanently. When Atrahasis asked if they could live together, the Anunnaki replied, "This isn't goodbye. We promise that when the next catastrophe comes, humanity will be saved because of the kindness you've shown us today." Approximately 250 civilizations worldwide recorded nearly identical flood stories. The details vary, but the core elements remain consistent: corruption, divine warning, catastrophic flooding, survival on mountains, and the rebirth of civilization. Most of these accounts point to the same time period, around 3000 BCY. What could have caused a global event of this magnitude? Science provides answers. Around 13,000 years ago, Earth entered an ice age triggered by a chaotic event. Over thousands of years, temperatures gradually rose and climates normalized. But roughly 5,000 years ago, something extraordinary happened: the Holocene Climatic Optimum. Global temperatures suddenly increased by 5 to 6 degrees Celsius. To put this in perspective, today's extreme weather is caused by a 1.5 degree increase. A 5 to 6 degree spike would be catastrophic. This sudden warming caused remaining ice age glaciers to melt or fracture rapidly, triggering massive flooding and extreme weather events worldwide. This explains the flood phenomenon around 3000 BC perfectly. There's limited evidence about earlier floods, but connections to the fall of Mu and Atlantis and the Ice Age 13,000 years ago suggest a pattern. Research into these earlier cataclysms is ongoing. The Great Flood wasn't a localized event affecting only Mesopotamia. It was a global catastrophe documented by independent civilizations across every continent. The story wasn't about one man, one family, and one boat saving all of Earth's species. That interpretation oversimplifies what actually happened. The flood was real, massive, and affected the entire planet. But the idea that a single person could fit every animal species onto one wooden vessel, and that 3 to 5 people could repopulate the world, is not scientifically or logically sound. Here's what likely happened. Multiple survivors existed across different regions. Just as Noah was chosen to warn his people, other prophets and leaders were sent to other civilizations. Sacred texts confirm that God never destroys a people without first sending a warner. The striking similarities between flood accounts worldwide suggest that warnings were issued globally, and righteous individuals in each culture were chosen to preserve humanity and rebuild after the waters receded. The flood was both a physical and spiritual reset. Corruption had reached a tipping point. The catastrophe wasn't random, it was the result of planetary climate shifts combined with human moral collapse. Those who heeded the warnings survived. Those who ignored them perished. This wasn't mythology. It was history. The evidence exists in geological records, ancient texts, and the collective memory of every major civilization. Modern science has confirmed what ancient peoples recorded thousands of years ago. A sudden, violent climatic event reshaped the world around 3000 BC. Understanding the Great Flood through scientific, historical, and theological lenses reveals a far more complex and fascinating truth than the simplified version most people know. It wasn't about divine punishment alone, it was about planetary forces, human choice, and the resilience of those who listened when others refused to hear. The Great Flood happened. That much is certain. Over 250 civilizations across every continent recorded it. Modern science confirms a catastrophic climate event around 3000 BC that matches these accounts. The synchronized timing, the identical details, and the geological evidence all point to one conclusion: this was real. But the full story is far bigger than what's taught in schools or simplified in religious texts. It was a global reset, not a regional punishment. Multiple survivors existed worldwide, not just one family, and the event was triggered by planetary climate shifts that melted glaciers and flooded continents. If you're still watching, you're one of the few willing to question the stories we've been told and search for the truth beneath them. Hit subscribe, because next time, we're re-uncovering the even older catastrophes that destroyed Atlantis and Mu events, so devastating they were erased from history entirely. The answers are out there, and we're going to find them.